it is not known to most of the guild. Like, actually, a lot of the guild members do not know about that. But yeah, Julius and others, do you remember when you had that flying fortress? There was like a room called Greater Servant Summoning.
I don't remember much about it now. Mhm.
Yeah, but yeah, you never like. There was never really a chance to use it, but.
I think we did a couple times.
Did we clear? No. I don't
Maybe.
think we used it at all, actually.
Yeah, using it, I don't think so. But yeah, essentially, what you see here on this intricate, symbol summoning circle in this nexus of power, essentially, because as you like focus and contemplate, this thing lies on like one of the, let's call it like ley lines, places of power that are capable of providing enough energy to sustain the process of summoning. But yeah, this is a place that can be used to summon even stronger creatures than the ones that you can get by a regular spell. This place can be used to conduct a ritual that can bring forth great heroes of the past or terrible monsters straight out of nightmares. I'm gonna say, like, even with the knowledge of what it can do, like, you do not have exact knowledge who can be called forth, what sort of creatures can be called forth, but yeah, you are now aware that summoning like that is possible, and considering the state of depowerment, like that this place has no power, with the rolls that you have, you imagine that with enough time, it is possible that the power will be replenished, as it is like a, rechargeable battery. But there are signs that this place was used.
Guys, do you think that maybe the big thing that the Cherok and our missing friend saw came from this?
Could be possible. I do not think such a creature could come into being.
And
nothing.
if it did, who did this?
There are both merits to keep leaving it so we could investigate who, if we could find any clues, or also potentially destroying the circle itself.
Well, it could be used for us too. Master said never waste.
Is there a way to just from like a rough look at this to determine how old the summoning circle might be?
I mean, definitely it is possible to make a skill check, but I will need to like check some rules because I don't know if that would be like a perception or perhaps like a knowledge.
Engineering, perhaps.
Engineering.
I was going to say what history.
How to take out the circle? You mean?
How old it is?
Yeah, how old is it?
Yeah. The circle, the architecture.
The architecture.
That'd be engineering or history.
I would like to make a knowledge history, if that's alright then, please.
Okay, I may try. And also one more thing regarding, as you like start wondering about, like if that giant fuck off ghost you saw, or rather the Cherok and Nero saw, was something that could have been summoned. As I mentioned, you do not know the identities of the beings that can be called forth, but the general rule of thumb, like very short thing, is that unless you are like very high level powerful yourself, the general rule of thumb for pretty much everyone is run the fuck away. Or like essentially flee on sight. Because if the creature is hostile, considering what they are usually you need big guns to deal with them. And obviously it's never permanent because, well, they are like summoned beings.
Yeah.
With a history 12, I can only tell you that it is old. We are talking not hundreds, thousands of years old.
Well, that's a start at least.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
older than before the Ragnarok happened, probably before the first iterations of the guild happened.
Wait, I'll help you out. No, I didn't help you out. I had looked double check with things like, wait, I do have history.
I mean, even
That's
with 14, it's
Yeah.
the same, pretty much.
This does look to predate even the. Well, it predates even the Wanderers. Was that right?
You have the feeling that it might be like really fucking old and like older than the guild itself.
This predates the Wanderers.
That being
Wait.
said, when you look at the stonework, this doesn't seem to be crumbling to dust. As in, it looks to be in a pretty good shape, material-wise. And sorry, I cut you off, Donut.
That's fine. Yeah, despite the age, it's still maintained. That would imply some degree of maintenance.
Well, if it's not magic, then perhaps the bulky guy with the big beard might know more about it if we drag him here. Mm-hmm.
Just
Possibly.
a point of order. It's, well, either someone is maintaining it, which kinda looks less likely what you've seen so far, or because this is like a place of power ley line, then maybe because of that. It's also like self-sustained. Just throwing this out because with those rolls you would have like considered this as a possibility.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Nice stealth check you got going there, man. Well,
Plus 0? Okay.
well, I don't think there's much more we can do here. It doesn't seem to work. He pokes it with his sword. Nope, definitely doesn't seem to work. Well, let's keep going, I suppose.
It looks like the only way we can go now is back.
Well, we can get lost in some caves or maybe try poking out those crystals, but yeah, you're probably right about that. Mm-hmm.
You can make me
This needs to be reported.
perception checks if you want.
Sure.
Ladies.
I completely forgot to go through my macros. Fuck.
Yeah, it's fine.
Haha.
Oh,
I see you're 24 and I raise you to 25.
spicy.
I go all in with an 8.
Imagine just like a dramatic scene, all in, fucking folds immediately.
Okay, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna, because it will work if for like mechanical purposes, like as yeah, you are starting to like look around, and because something catches your eye regarding these crystals, because as Exos said that it doesn't work, it's like unpowered, and you like take a peek closer. While, as I mentioned at the start, it doesn't seem to have its inherent inner glow. As you're like staring at this, you can swear that from time to time there is. I'm echoing from Donut. Not anymore, I think. Okay. That there's like this like brief, faint glimmer of passing, you know, arcane power. Essentially, mechanical out of character information for players, which I cannot translate into in character. That yeah, this place is recharging, as it was like implied before.
Mm-hmm. Well, as I
And
said, let's
and also, I probably should have mentioned that the place itself, obviously, because the circle was made. Oh, I should probably mention that the summoning circle itself looks much fresher than the stone altar.
Mm-hmm.
And while it was made by like essentially blood, because what else would be like so red crimson? So it implies probably whatever was summoned was pretty much evil or chaotic. The summoning altar itself, the Nexus of Power, is like neutral alignment, so it is possible to bring forth a good heroic creature if possible. And one more thing. Yep, go ahead. Because I wanted to mention like one more thing. Because why I play Zixos and Zillow like here? Because also like picking at these crystals, both Zixos also like gaze switches focus from the crystal into that wall behind, and for Zillow the same. At the first you didn't really notice that, but now that you are like looking at this, something catches your attention. And you can swear that in that wall of crystals, you can spot large, vaguely humanoid shapes of some type of creature.
Guys, looks like we have company.
They are not active. As in, I don't know, like imagine, have you like, fuck, I'm trying to look for a good analogy. They so far seem to be like embedded into the wall, like they're like resting. They are not helpless, I'm gonna say that much. They are like in, you know, energy saving mode. However, if they are attacked, they will, you know, mechanically they are not considered helpless. So
Is there a check that I could use on them?
yes, they are considered outsiders. So planar. Planes, sorry.
Lanes.
So, and is it what? Is it this thing over here or what? Sorry.
Those two are the same.
Okay.
They look at the same type. And what you see, these creatures seem to be formed of quartz, earth, and crystals, and they roughly stand at about 13 feet tall. They have powerful arms and legs that end in razor-sharp claws that glint and shine like polished steel. And their rounded heads, they sport two sunken crystalline eyes and a gaping toothless maw. So, generally speaking, with those rolls, I'm gonna say this is sadly not enough to know much about it. However, I'm gonna be nice and say two things. One, you have a idea that, yeah, this is like an outsider elemental. Two, CR wise, this is something above your pay grade.
Hmm.
Wait,
Well,
we
now.
don't get paid.
Yeah, we don't get paid. What the hell? Let's go get him, boys.
Wait, no, wait. That means they're definitely above our pay grade.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I think anything's above our pay grade if we're not getting paid.
That's the thing. Let's go get him, boys.
However, as I mentioned, they seem to be like inactive.
There
Oh.
seems to be another path down. Should we investigate farther?
The path down just led to the caves, he
Oh.
said. So.
There seems to be something on the wing.
I would advise
Well.
that without us being able to discern the summoning circle further, and with these creatures looking formidable, I would suggest we fall back.
Well, I don't think we should be bringing the bearded guy here if there's threats like this, but Perhaps we could just poke Zilil with some of his chemicals and let him loose? Hmm.
Mmm. I might like that idea.
Yeah, but sadly, like, you didn't encounter or heard about this type of kind of like crystal-like elemental, so you don't know much about it. However, so far what you know is that they are like inactive, and your dilly-dallying and interacting with the summoning circle didn't seem to trigger them, so
Well, yes, but
I believe trying to destroy it may be what activates them.
or use it. I mean, successfully, that is. Mm-hmm.
If that was the case, then whoever used it would have to fight them off.
Yeah.
And whoever set this up would have to fight them off whenever they used it.
True. That could be true.
Or
Mhm.
likely they were summoned using this and then told to guard it.
Indeed, if our meddling here has not set them off yet, it's more likely act as guardians to protect it in the event someone wishes to destroy it.
That does make some sense. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I have an intelligence score now too, as a warder.
Hey,
yeah. So apart from lifting, Axel was also doing a lot of like reading and whatnot.
Mental lifting.
Yeah, mental lifting, right? That's yeah.
Mhm.
However, all the reading has made my people skills kind of shit. I no longer have a charisma bonus. However,
Yes.
I do still am probably better than most of the party at my charisma skills because I left my ranks in them.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. Well.
You should leave and report this then.
Nah. True enough. Sixes. Well, I'd say he cheats his blade, but he, keeps it cheat for his maneuver, so he just draws it, cheats it, and sighs and starts walking away.
Once the Wanderers have gathered their personnel, they will likely want to fortify this location and take control of it themselves.
That's likely. Well, let's head off. Perhaps I'll get to fight some bunnies or something.
Bunny.
then let us head out to report this.
Mm-hmm.
Right, you must gather your party before venturing forth.
Mm-hmm.
I get that reference now.
You must gather your party before venturing forth. See,
You
That is
you
not a
must gather
reference.
your battery venturing for.
that is not a reference to Kingmaker. Kingmaker was referencing Baldur's Gate 1, which is the
Yeah.
first one to do it.
I mean, I heard it from Dragon Age Origins first. I've not
Mhm.
played Baldur's Gate.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so as you like gather around, and I will be generating loot between the sessions for completing this this dungeon. So yeah, you like begin to venture. Actually, that's the question, because right now, due to like how you did the travel and resting, if you like wanted to move out immediately, you would be going. Although even though I rolled, so the DC would be like 20 because you would be traveling during the night, so that would be enough. But just wanted to confirm that you like do not wait until the dawn. You just like immediately move, guided by Chariot, move through the night back to the
Mhm.
main base.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just gonna double check what would you like, what encounter you would avoid. You would have avoided. You avoided essentially. Actually nothing. I believe. 68. Yeah. Literally nothing unusual happens.
Nice.
That is not to say there's no life around in the in these tropics, but there's nothing here that demands your immediate attention. There's nothing that tries to attack you because you're like expertly guided by Cheryuk, avoid possible dangers. Thankfully, there's that big fuck of ghost is nowhere to be seen. And there are no other possible dangerous creatures being around. So I think I was mentioning... actually, let me double check. One thing. It would be like... Okay. Yeah, so after... I'm gonna say like 6 hours of trek through the jungle, through the beaches, you have made your way back to the stronghold. It's at this point in time you have like witnessed the, or like more like felt that the day has begun. And despite like this massive storm wall that's covering the horizon, like the illumination has changed. Yeah, so I'm gonna like put you on this. Okay, I'm just gonna need to make one thing to check if who's home. Okay, as you like enter, you do not notice Vorver or Bachmir, so head ranger, head scout around. However, you do hear, as usual, Ulfgar hammering in his improvised workshop as he's like working non-stop on crafting items and basically creating things to fortify the stronghold and finish preparing the Lazarus pit, the Lazarus temple. So called.
Hey, Wolfgar. Actually, no. Hey, bearded dude. Hey. We found something you might actually know. Actually, do you know anything about summoning? Calling for spooky things.
Ritual
Nah.
circles.
Let's head
Yes,
builder
that's
to
what I
you,
think.
Gabby.
All right, Herr Beard. Do you know anything about summoning?
Like clank. Grumble. Can't say I do. My specialty is in, well, creating things, transmutation, a little bit of divination, but not much summoning, eh?
What do you know of ritual circles, or is there a lore master in camp? That one that would know about these things.
Let me think. Clank. I don't recall us having anyone like that here at this point in time. Although one of the teams has summoner, someone that specializes in that, but in a spare time I've been sending messages to other members of the expedition. I think they have landed definitely not around here, in a different foothold. I think they are called Agron, and he gives you like a very basic, brief description, and let me show you. Though, look, it's probably for the better if like wait for the others from command to like give your report. Everyone else is like still doing their recon runs, I think.
Understood.
Well, let's
And-
wait then.
Once again, thank you for the new equipment.
It's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we'll go sit around until we get debriefed and then briefed on our next mission.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mention at the start, but it probably would have been. Maybe you just took the entrance that didn't have him, but one of the things that definitely catches your attention is that one of the persons that is doing the guard seems to stand out amongst the others. He looks like a pretty jovial dude that definitely has several empty bottles near him as he is trying to like joke and exchange stories with some of the other members of the expedition. Not necessarily Eternals like you, but just other sailors, experts and soldiers that got caught up in this shitstorm. Yeah, essentially you see that, yeah, among other things, they have set up the Divine Guardian for this place.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's, let's say, a couple of yeah, I'm gonna need to, you actually don't have to wait for long, as about like an hour later, and I need to like edit one thing so I remember how much time has passed. Let's say it was done, so let's say just around the noon. And also, hey, that's the thing, because some of you did the thing that you had effects of temporary resurrection, right?
Pardon?
What?
I mean, the thing that when you died, you pick the option to come back immediately, but that falls
but-
under the immediate temporary resurrection.
Yeah, but we rested, so it's gone if we had it. Mm-hmm. Or what do you mean? Hmm?
Okay, maybe. Yeah, because like the way the temporary resurrection is written, as I understand it, is that I don't think resting just takes it away.
Well, we did that earlier, but in which case I would have just died and gotten it rid of? I'm not sure about
Yeah,
that.
that's the. But that's like if you wanted to play it out, that there is like a moment in time on the like this like day when you have to like, oh, my time is
Oh,
up. I
no.
need to like go for like a longer nap, and then.
Yeah, but it would have happened down in the underwater temple in that case, because, yeah.
We rested down there.
Mm-hmm.
We probably would have like went ahead and fixed that issue ourselves. One could
Yes.
say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the case. Okay, so yeah, about an hour later, so around noon. Yeah, Bachmir, Vorver, and other members of the guild, so the New Blood team, so Goldbane and his crew, they all get back. And there's probably, even before you might be first to like say that you have like information to give, but there's definitely like call out given for like a general assembly of the like important, for like a general briefing to figure out what everyone knows and what should be done next, now that the situation has been somewhat stabilized.
Yeah.
So yeah, Bachmir is like, well, we are all back. That's good to see. Before I begin, is there any issue that demands no delay. That
no
requires
delay?
our immediate attention.
Well, I'm not sure about no delay, but we did find a giant, big, very large summoning
This
circle.
won't be no delay. It's not active.
Yeah, so not really no delay, but it's very big, and it was probably used recently. Mm. Mm-hmm.
Recently? How recently?
Um.
And now that I think about your role, because you've probably think about that. Obviously, it's like not possible to like pinpoint exactly which day of the year, but
Mhm.
if you were to guess, have a feeling, then you'd say not too long before the expedition was due to arrive. Maybe a couple of months at the very most before the expedition arrived.
Yeah, it's a bit relative, but the stone circle is ancient. But a couple of months before we showed up here, somebody did something, likely bad. Probably. I mean, it was written in blood, and that's never a good thing. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Quite. Any other outstanding issues?
Nothing else to report, sir.
I don't hear any, then very well. Now that we have established our base of operations and have like a rough idea of the terrain that we have, we can begin planning and executing the next phase, next step of the... I don't want to say plan, because we are pretty much improvising along the way, but we can now think what are our objectives and what should we focus on, and obviously finding the rest of the command squad, or just generally being able to figure out where our forces have went and try to consolidate is still very much on the table. Ulfgar is continuously each day reaching out to known members of the expedition, checking if they're alive, if they're conscious, so that they may respond. We already know that there are 2 other places where our other survivors managed to establish footholds. Don't expect that we will be meeting them anytime soon. And then he like places, let's say there's like a table in front of you, like all around, like a round table, and he places like a large map, like as the best representation of the land that you can get. We are here. No wait, left shift. From the way they have described, some portion of the survivors, although I have no idea how the fuck they ended up there, ended up here, which is roughly over 1,000 miles, over 1,200 miles away from us. And then the other team, the other group of survivors have managed to conduct landfall here. They're describing generally colder, winter-like environment. It's still unknown exactly how much have we lost, but our generous estimations paint the picture that out of the entire expedition that had so many thousands of people, volunteers, we might be looking at roughly a quarter of all the forces managed to survive, not counting those who bear the gift of immortality. This entire map, Julius, is like the archipelago, this new land, new world that
Right.
was supposed to be colonized.
Mm-hmm. It's a grand mess, but it looks interesting. Mm-hmm. I like how this is probably. Anyway, go ahead. It looks cool. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is a. Was that in character? That grand mess?
Yes, sure.
Okay. Yes, it is a mess, and it forces me to wonder how the fuck the senior command missed all of this. Well, all of the weird things. I'm not. And then he like Bachmir just sighs, and Vorver with the calm, composed voice of like a stone cold assassin says, "What my companion in command wants to say is that none of us suspects there's like a traitor within the higher ranks of the guild, nor that we are being set up. It is more likely that we are facing an enemy that has enough power and skill to deceive us. There are not many possible choices for that, and as loath as I am to admit it, neither one of those is... Fuck. I know what I want to say, but I can't find words in English.
Neither one bodes well.
Neither choice gives me comfort and bodes well.
Mm-hmm.
But seeing how much seeing with how much we already have to deal with, if the worst comes to pass, then we'll start thinking what to do about that. Now, Head Ranger, if you can continue. Yes, thank you, Vorvar. So, obviously, we have managed to clear out most of the immediate area around our base. The island itself where we landed is still quite large, and so in the upcoming days and weeks, I'm expecting that all of us will be conducting more explorations and more just scavenging exploration runs throughout the land. I will not. I will not. I will not implore you what should you ask Ulfgar to. I will not dictate about your equipment choice. However, consider recommissioning items that can aid you in travel in Ulfgar as soon as possible. Yes, Mr. Zixus, you wanted to mention something?
Do we have a boat?
The one that's operational, not yet.
I was hoping we'd maybe be able to clear our way to the west and island hop a bit.
Ulfgar is like, sorry, Gabi, but the building list is very long. I just barely managed to set up the resurrection chamber.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it should be operational. And
Well,
there's obviously
that's-
still more defenses, reinforcements to be made, more items to be made. Ugh. Just work.
Is there anything specific we could help with? Gathering supplies, perhaps?
All these supplies.
Well, if you won't have anything better else to do, then every pair of hands will be useful. But I believe, and then he points to Bachmir, they will keep you occupied. Yes. When you were like checking out, well, the place where you found the circle, we were conducting our own reconnaissance trying to pinpoint any places, points of interest with the limited time that we have. I don't believe I ever mentioned there was like a specific lore master NPC.
No, there's just the master summoner who's with one of those other 2 dots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Master Summoner. Called him the Lore Master, but that was not the right name.
Yeah, I was like getting confused.
Yes, my bad. Mm-hmm.
And the implication was that if the other teams of Eternals are supporting the footholds, they are also like having their hands full with work, eliminating dangers and whatnot. And yeah, sort of like, while you may still conduct your own explorations and trying to locate something that we have missed, there are possibly 2 or 3 routes that you can consider. Will be, well, splitting duties along the way, but he looks at Axrak and actually no. We should be fuck. Sorry, I'm losing train of thought. You know what? I'm trying to like. In character, he would be like going smoothly, but I just like lost my train of thought. Apart from Recon, we have also discovered some, surprisingly, regarding what we usually know about kobolds, some paperwork or their own maps. They are pretty rough, but when combined with what we know and our own intelligence, we have information about several other tribes of different creatures operating in this general area. We already know that, or rather from what we have seen, creatures here tend to be pretty warlike. Something that's not entirely usual, not always. And then he like places the other map, and on it then you can see several different symbols. There's the symbol of the golden salamander, the tribe of kobolds that you have exterminated here. There are a couple of others, and question, Axrak Koron, do you have an idea back when you lived, like your tribe from where you came and that your father was leading, did they operated like in a specific environment, or they were just nomadic all in all? Or they stuck in like, desert areas or like jungles or forests or plains?
What would you say, Zach? Would you say?
I've always pictured like, because like I know in Galarian orcs live in mountains. That's how kind of it is. I always imagined orcs to make good steppe hordes. So like plains, that kind of area stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So there are a couple of other symbols in here. There's also one more. I don't think when you dealt with the goblins, the one that was led by Gugrok, the cursed hook. I don't recall what sort of symbol I gave them, or even if they had any. I think they had, but yeah, you also like essentially have the confirmation, like the location of this tribe. And then Axrak and Koron, your eye catches a symbol that, well, you haven't seen for quite a while, and you didn't exactly expect to see it here. But further to the south, in this general area. There's like one other symbol that represents, you imagine, like a centaur tribe. It has like a horse, like kind of humanoid horse with like a spear. And then there's another symbol. The symbol that represents your tribe.
Aha!
What was it?
No idea. I can't remember, but whatever it is.
I mean,
is that
I don't think it was even mentioned. So now you can like describe what was the symbol of the of your tribe.
Yeah.
I mean, it
I
wasn't
don't-
generally here. I'm gonna be making later
Yeah, sure.
additions to them up.
I don't personally have an idea of what it should be, but Corin does have it on like his one half of his face.
I mean, this case, what do we make it?
A white hand.
Yeah, I feel like things went a bit south, didn't they?
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Well, maybe like a red axe or something like that. A white hat is kind of hilarious, though. I like the reference.
I mean, it's fine.
It's just a black hand on a white background. Because we're creative.
That works.
I mean,
The black hand of Sauron.
I mean, I'm
Instead of
I'm
white hand of Saruman.
I'm
Yeah,
fine
sure,
with
we'll
that.
go with that.
I'm fine with that.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna say, like, you recognize that it is a symbol of your tribe. You do not know if this is your tribe because how the fuck they would end up here? It doesn't make any sense. However, I'm gonna add one more thing, that it's like altered, and there's like one more symbol that gives like apparently it's supposed to give it like a little more dread. In the very center of the hand, there's like a smaller, and obviously the description is not as not the description, but the painting is not as detailed and good. But in the very center of this black hand, there's a face, and face that you have recognized before, that you have seen before.
Dun dun dun
So
dun.
those symbols are mixed.
The Shadow Isles are coming.
Interesting.
This does not bode well.
What? What doesn't?
Something you recognize?
That symbol there, besides the extra bit in the middle, that's our clan.
As Corin sort of shifts his head, well, I suppose takes off his helmet and shows the fact that he's got the black hand itself tattooed to like the right side of his face.
Huh.
Azrax is probably on his chest.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you get to say hi to family, no?
We're not.
Which
Do-
is family?
Does that
We
extra
did.
face symbol mean anything? Like, have we seen that before here?
Oh right,
What
it
would
was
be here?
it was during the session when Isaac wasn't here.
Yeah.
That symbol was placed on the blight spawns that were the party had to kill them to open the passage to that summoning circle you found.
Oh yeah, that's right. In the big room with the ghouls,
Ah,
it would appear that our tribe has allied themselves with that dark power.
With whoever
Right.
is manipulating the events behind the shadows.
it is potentially possible, and we may be able to go and recruit them.
Orcs respond to strength. With any luck, if this is the same tribe, they'll remember the strength that I brought forth.
This is something to consider, but considering the distance, I would place it somewhat lower on the I'm missing the word, on the priority list. However, it
Agreed.
is good remembering that. However, you bring a good point that recruiting them allies, we have lost much, so getting help from any side would be useful. So far, the natives seem to be pretty bloodthirsty. Something that also arouses my suspicion. Well, all of our suspicions.
You will find them to be the same. But with any luck, they will respond to any strength that we display.
Mhm.
Well, there's definitely something to consider. And speaking of allies, I couldn't get like a visual, but Ulfgar took a moment to do some scrying in the mountains, and there's like a possibility there might be an enclave or a monastery of sorts existing in the mountains that hopefully will not be filled with hostiles. Of course, moving through the mountains will carry its own challenges. Kobold, goblins, orcs. This is something that, as the time will progress, will pretty easily be able to deal with. But giants will be something
Ooh, a giant's monastery.
else. I mean, not giants monastery, but the hills and mountains are usually the environment used by the giants.
Aw.
I kind of hope. I mean, if there is like a allied, like potentially friendly tribe of giants living in a monastery, then I will take that. But I
Giant monks.
I don't think
Pretty
we'll be
terrifying.
that lucky.
I mean, her master said never to judge a book by its cover, no matter how ugly and big the book may be.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's the potential like route into the mountain.
No.
I think Malgarius, I believe he called dibs as soon as he will find the rest of his teammates, or rather at the very least one he will be checking out. There's like a dead tree in the forest, relatively close by, or rather like a very massive tree with a lot of like dead patches of forest around it. That gives like a bad hound vibes. Potentially, well, you did mention a boat. There is a chance the monsters that attacked us in the seas. Well, on one hand, they probably live underwater. They have like camps underwater, but who knows? Seeing how much is weird stuff is here and how much it's different, and maybe who knows? Maybe along the coast, it is possible to find like a naval base or naval camp of some sort. Maybe there's like a hidden pirate-like place. And then he like sighs and starts thinking more, and then using that, other member in the, like this meeting ask Morza actually speaks up. If I may, there's also one more thing that concerns us. Have you... This is pretty... I will ask directly. You have perished along the way, yes? On this island?
With what, sorry?
Perished.
Died.
As in, like, died.
Ah, okay.
Maybe? Success looks around with shifty eyes. What
We
sort
have.
of...
We have gone down a couple of times, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Have you felt anything strange?
Maybe? Mm.
And I remember I only like mentioned it directly to Azrak, but now that you like hear this question and think about it, the sensation of your soul being pulled away, like someone trying to rip it off. For most of your cases, because you're generally using the instant resurrection rule, you didn't really register it then. But now that you think back about it, yeah, that feeling when you were like dying or dead, there was like this feeling of something tugging you, like trying to take away a portion of your soul. And in a way, you can consider that because you are eternal, your soul is infinite, essentially. Like from philosophical standpoint, like imagine a chalice. That chalice is filled with your soul, and even if someone drinks from it or like spills it, the chalice is still full. If you catch my meaning.
Yeah.
And yeah, and now that you think about it, yeah, you had this feeling that someone was trying to, rip your soul out towards somewhere. You know what? I need to like turn the lights on. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so with that, how do you like respond?
Success is
Corin
being shifty, so go ahead.
Corin just simply nods. He's not really got a lot to say on the matter.
Given he has the most experience since I kind of wandered around for a while, yeah, Azrak will kind of just tell her what happened.
Interesting. And the others also like looking at one another, like thinking, huh. Bakmir and Vorver look at one another and all of you guys, and considering everything, I wouldn't be surprised if our presence here was planned. But for what? I have no fucking idea. Not yet. But I trust you will act in the best judgment and to the utmost of your abilities, but before we can determine what is going on exactly, try to still act with care. We do not know, like, if your continuous demises are doing something more.
Then perhaps for safety we should stop getting into situations in which we end up killing ourselves. He looks at Zixus.
Hey.
Oh, you only want to die every session.
Hey!
Should it happen, because we know how some of us are, and he also looks at success. We will make sure to keep note so that others may know of what perils lie ahead.
I understand. I'm not asking that you should not risk it, but just bear in mind, have that in the back of your head, that there is something more going on that any of us so far understands or can suspect, and assume that all of our actions and abilities have been calculated and have been calculated into someone's